Honorable Daryl Smith, Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Mr. Anthony Creed, President of the Secondary Schools Football League and other executive members of the league, Mr. Stephen Hart, Head Coach, National Men's Senior Team, and other members of the coaching staff here with us, Ms. Janelle Holloway of First Citizens, Mr. Wendell Constantine of BG Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Vijay Ramcharitar of Coca-Cola, Dr. Michael Dowlat, Principal of Naparima College, and other members of the education community here with us, coaches, referees, officials, players present and past, students, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the media. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the 2015 prize giving ceremony and 50th anniversary awards function of the Secondary Schools Football League. My name is Vidya Ramphal. It's a great pleasure to be here with you once again, and it's a special pleasure to be here, my alma mater, Naparima College. It's been a few years since I've been here, but it's great to see the school once again. Thank you so much for for taking the decision to spend some time with us here today, and we hope that you have a wonderful afternoon with us. Let's start off by some opening remarks involving the president of the Secondary Schools Football League, Mr. Anthony Creed. Please welcome him.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Mr. Daryl Smith, Mr. Wendell Constantine from BGT&T, Ms. Giselle Holloway of First Citizen Bank, Mr. Vijay Ramcharitar, Coca-Cola, executive members of the Secondary Schools Football League, past members of the Secondary Schools Football League, awardees, all the awardees today, principals, teachers, coaches, student footballers, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today, the Secondary Schools Football League has a lot to thank Almighty God for its existence. We have plenty to celebrate. Firstly, the winners of the 2015 season. Secondly, 50 years officially as a league. Thirdly, a long history of school football. Would you imagine? Over 100 years. There is evidence that suggests that St. Mary's College participated in football during the end of the 19th century. During that time, students, teachers, and priests represented the school against clubs. Then, in early 20th century, saw the first intercol match played between St. Mary's College and QRC College in 1908. The South Schools played their first intercall as early as 1935 with a match between Naparima College and Presentation College San Fernando. Thereafter, the Colleges Football League was founded in 1964, as you can see. They began with 3 schools in the north, St. Mary's College, Queen's Royal College, and Fatima College, Naparima College, Presentation College, and St. Benedict's College from the south. However, Trinidad and Tobago gained independence in 1962, and a number of secondary schools were built. With that increase, in 1989, the Colleges Football League was changed to the Secondary School Football League, as the league was augmented from 6 to 28 schools. Think about it. To date, 112 schools participate in Secondary Schools Football League, and I think that deserves a round of applause. These 112 schools play at 9 different levels by both genders. Our girls began playing in 1986 in 1 zone, and in 1992, the girls' membership had grown to 32, which included 2 zones. Northeast and South. And in 2000 was the first time the girls played at the national level. Some of our pioneer girls' schools are Malik Secondary, El Dorado East, Providence Girls, Toco Secondary, St. Augustine Secondary, Debe Secondary, and Signal Hill Secondary from Tobago. Currently, the girls take part in all 5 zones. This redounds to the progress of our development program. Isn't that reason to celebrate? The Secondary Schools Football League has had 10 presidents and 5 secretaries between 1964 and 2014. Let me thank all those who have given valuable service during that period to the Secondary Schools Football League, some of who are present here today. Mr. Sigler Jack, former Vice President of the League. Mr. Guy Otley, see here, former President of the League. Yes. And also, we have people like Mr. Ewing Davis and Mr. Carlton Potty Lewis, who promised to be here today. There have been occasions I had to remind some people that part of the Secondary Schools Football League mission is the marriage of sport and education. And as such, education of our boys and girls comes first. In this league, football is another educational tool used to drive education. From the SSFL perspective, we leave the professional football to the relevant body, the TT Pro League. And we are affiliated and remain committed to the national football body, the TTFA, as we continue to contribute to development. That is where our contribution is. The SSFL is now producing an invaluable souvenir magazine which will highlight some of what I have shared with you today and much more. The magazine will be available next week, and all awardees will receive one. As you join us in celebrating, you would know which schools have won the most titles during this Golden Jubilee. From this noteworthy half-century, you'll find out about some of the outstanding players, coaches, schools that have graced the annals of the secondary schools football history. These were selected by a special panel to whom I extend my sincere gratitude. Later today, we will carry on with the commendation and commemoration of all those who have significantly impacted this league. Let me interject now to indicate that this league is about transparency and integrity. We have institutions and structures which are mirrored in zones to deal with discipline, credentials, constitution, as well as selective committees, to name a few. The anniversary committee set criteria, invited 8 persons to produce lists that were categorized into eras. 6 nominees responded. 2 of the nominees played football in the 60s and have been journalists through the eras. 1 nominee played football in the 70s and 80s and is a journalist. Another nominee played football in the 80s and is a football administrator. And the last 2 nominees played football in the 80s and 90s. One is a football administrator, the other a journalist. These 6 lists were given to the SSFL committee with criteria to select awardees, and as a consequence, the awards list was created. It wasn't Creed, it wasn't Azad Khan, nor the executive committee selected. Today, as we celebrate excellence for the 2015 football season, young men and women will receive rewards for hard work during the recently completed season. Permit me at this time to congratulate all the recipients of medals and trophies for the 2015 season. It would be remiss of me if I did not thank corporate Trinidad and Tobago for their financial contribution and continued support to the SSFL during the Golden Jubilee. In the early years, the league has had partners such as Highgate, remember Highgate Chocolate? BWIA, Wrangler, Sprite, Republic Bank, Royal Bank, Barclays Bank. The league has to be doing something good to attract such sponsorship. At present, the institutions that keep the SSFL going are BGT&T, Mr. Wendell Constantine, First Citizen Bank, Ms. Holloway, and Coca-Cola, Mr. Ramcharita. We salute you and thank you for your extraordinary benefaction, hoping that the partnership will extend into 2016. At the end of the last season, we welcomed Digicel Sportsmart, who did highlights of the semifinals and televised the Intercol final live. To you, we communicate our appreciation and we hope to maintain this union for the next 5 years. Permit me as well to applaud all those who have served the Secondary School Football League during this quingenarian period with distinction, whether as administrator, coach, player, spectator, sponsor, principal, teacher, student, as well as the members of my executive. I also have to give thanks to the media for your gargantuan contribution to the league. In closing, may I wish everyone here a productive and happy new year. I pray that 2016 will bring blessings to all our schools and membership. Let this celebration begin, and may God bless the SSFL and us all. I thank you.
I first met Mr. Creed on the cricket field. He's an umpire in his spare time. There is never any dissent to any of his decisions on the cricket field, and I guess you can tell why. We were due to be addressed today by the new president of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, David John Williams, but Mr. John Williams is at a CFU conference today, so he sends his apologies first of all and his regards to the award winners today. So, we go first of all into the distribution of trophies and medals. These are for Zonal and Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad, in fact. So, I'd like to invite first of all to present the first set of awards, Mr. Leo Braffett, the former secretary of the Central Division. So this is for the first set of awards are for the Form 1 division. For the various zones, we had the knockout and the league competition first of all. So we start with the North Zone. We start with the North Zone, and the trophy goes this year to Fatima College. Okay. Now we go to the league competition. There were 3 zones, of course. The East Zone, the trophy from the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago to St. Augustine Secondary. So this, of course, is the Form 1 division, league competition, East Zone, St. Augustine Secondary earning the sport trophy and, of course, medals today. Winning the North Zone in 2015, St. Mary's College. Right, congratulations to St. Mary's College. And finally, in the South Zone, the sport trophies, St. Benedict's College. Representatives of St. Benedict's College making their way up. And this, of course, is South Zone League competition in the Form 1 division. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Brackett, for assisting us with the presentation of these awards. And we go to the knockout competition first of all, and let's start with the North Zone, Mucurapo West Secondary. Congratulations to Mucurapo. Central Zone, Karapichaima East Secondary. And Karapichaima making their way to the front. And also we'd like to ask to stand by the representatives for the league winners, Hoover, El Dorado, St. Mary's Presentation, and Mason Hall. Right, we go now to the league competition. Central Zone winners this year, Hoover West Secondary. In the East Zone, El Dorado East Secondary. I'd like to call out the winners in the different divisions so you can make your way up at the time as the East winners make their way up. North Zone, St. Mary's College. South Zone, Presentation College. And the Tobago Zone winners in the league this year, Mason Hall High School. Right, so there we had the winners from Central, that's Hoover West. Now these are the winners from, in fact there's the East Zone, El Dorado Secondary. This is North Zone, St. Mary's College. If you don't mind looking at the camera, please. And in the South Zone, Presentation College. All right, congratulations. Diego Martin Central. And as they make their way up, the winners in the league competition in the East Zone, Bishop Anstey East. Winners in the North Zone, under 15 girls, Diego Martin Central. And girls, if you don't mind holding on, there's another award for you. Ladies? Yeah, there's another award for you all. So this is Bishop Anstey East for the East Zone League competition. And the North Zone competition, the winners, Diego Martin Central. And finally, in the South Zone, Ashja Girls College of Barrackpore. Right, this is the representative of Astor Girls College, Barrackpore. Division under 16 boys. Knockout winners this year, Central Zone, Presentation College. League winners, Central Zone, Karapichaima East Secondary. League winners in the East Zone, Holy Cross College. South Zone winners in the league, Shiva Boys Hindu College. Or if you just don't mind holding on for your picture, first of all. South Zone winners, Shiva Boys Hindu College, and the Tobago Zone winners, Bishop's High School of Tobago. Thank you very much, Sean, for assisting us with the presentations. I'd like to ask Mr. Surajdat Mahabir, the president of the Secondary Schools Cricket League, to assist us with the presentation. Former national spinner is going to help us with this award. We go to the senior division under 20 girls, the knockout winners. North Zone Tranquility Secondary. League competition, Central Zone. Marabella South Secondary. League winners, East Zone. Toko Secondary. North Zone winners, if we can have the North Zone winners at this time also. This is Toko Secondary. And the North Zone winners, ladies, two new recipients will come up. North Zone winners in the league competition, Tranquility Secondary. And finally, in the South Zone, Pleasantville Secondary. The representatives of Pleasantville, Surajat, thank you very much for assisting us. Thank you very much for assisting us. Oh, in fact, here is Pleasantville. Right, Pleasantville is on their way. Thank you very much, Surajat. Congratulations to all the winners in this category. Central Zone, Gasparillo Secondary. North Zone, Maple Leaf International. Right, no representatives of Maple Leaf. In the league competition, Central Zone winners, Gasparillo Secondary. East Zone, Holy Cross College. And in the North Zone, Maple Leaf International. Ross, I think your former teammates love your shoes. Representatives of the East Zone winners of the league competition, Holy Cross College. Next we go to the Trinidad titles for the girls and boys competitions. Under 16, under 14 winners this year, St. Mary's College. Under 15 girls, Diego Martin Central. Under 16 winners, Shiva Boys Hindu College. So the order so far: St. Mary's College, Diego Martin Central, Shiva Boys Hindu College, and the under-20 boys winners, Holy Cross College. So the winners of the Trinidad titles, just to repeat: under 14, St. Mary's College; under 15 girls, Diego Martin Central; under 16, Shiva Boys Hindu College; under 20, Holy Cross College; and finally in the under 20 girls, Tranquility College. Now, please note that the Tobago Zone will be having their awards function on the 22nd of January in Tobago, and the schools will receive their awards at that time. Thank you very much, Ross, for assisting us with the presentation of these awards.
All protocols observed. A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. It's truly my pleasure to share just a few short words on behalf of the First Citizens group this afternoon. First Citizens is indeed to be a proud sponsor of the Secondary Schools Football League yet again. I'd like to congratulate the league on a successful 50th season and offering a platform for young people to display their talents both on and off the field. Please help me to congratulate them on a successful 50th season. We are happy that the SSFL continues to be a catalyst for change, a platform for the inculcation of key life lessons that seem to be disappearing from our society. This has been the 6th year that we have partnered with BGTNT to co-sponsor this league. This year, we supported the Premiership League, the Boys Big Five, the Girls Big Four, and we must say that we are pleased that it has been a great success. This year, we delivered financial literacy presentations at 22 schools, where we educated the youth on the importance of saving at an early age, and we encouraged them to make savings a disciplined habit. We also presented NEO gift certificates to the winners of the Premier Division, the Boys Big Five and Girls Big Four, and most were redeemed by opening the First Citizens NEO Youth Savings Account. Also, to encourage a spirit of excellence among our youth athletes, we launched the Student Athlete Program, where a player from each school in the Premier Division earned the accolade of All-Star Student Athlete, provided that they met the following criteria. These were excellence on the field, attendance at least 75% of the classes during the term, maintained at least a C+ average at the end of the term, and were late no more than 25% of the term. We are happy to report that most schools submitted a student athlete winner, with only one school abstaining. Each student athlete will receive a NEO gift certificate valued at $600, which will be presented today. First Citizens supports and will continue to support youth development, whether it's through culture, academics, financial literacy, or through sports. You can visit our website or find us on Facebook. Just search First Citizens Youth and you could relive the 2015 season with pics and coverage of your games. In closing, I would like to take the time to recognize all those who have excelled over the past 50 years. We wish to thank the teachers, principals, coaches, parents, friends, well-wishers, referees, and technical staff for their support throughout the years. We look forward to future initiatives such as these, where we can see such greatness among our young people, and First Citizens hopes that it can be a part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Holloway, and Janelle will stay with us for the presentation of the First Citizens Awards, and that will take place right now. So we go, first of all, this is for the Championship Division Girls and the Zonal competitions for the League competition. So our representative for First Citizens, Janelle Holloway, here with us. Let's go to the League competition first of all, where the East Zone winners getting the FCB, the First Citizens Trophy, St. Augustine Secondary. And also receiving a check for $3,000, I understand. Next, in the North Zone, Diego Martin Central Secondary. And as they make their way up, South Zone winners in the league this year, Faizabad Secondary. And of course, just to mention that the Tobago Zone winners this year, and they will receive their prizes at a separate event in Tobago, Scarborough Secondary winning the First Citizens Trophy and $3,000. This is the representative from Faizabad Secondary. I've mentioned that Tobago Zone, Scarborough Secondary, the winners. And in the Big Four competition right after this, it was also Faizabad Secondary that turned out winners in this one. So congratulations for a great year for Faizabad Secondary. Oh. We'd like to ask the recipient, please, did she receive also? Big Four competition? Yes. I think she'll need some help here because Faizabad Secondary also receiving the award in the Big Four competition, winning this year. As we move on in the Big Four competition, Faizabad Secondary, St. Augustine Secondary, Scarborough Secondary 1500, and Diego Martin Central Secondary. So the representatives, if you would receive, I think you received that at this time already. Thank you very much. And also for we also have the names of the students for the First Citizens NEO Student Athlete winners for 2015. I will call out the names from Faizabad Secondary School, Aaron Jordan. Trinity College Mocha, Joshua Trumpet. St. Anthony's College, Nicholas Moyu. Presentation College San Fernando, Corey Cupid. Shiva Boys Hindu College, Quinn Rodney. San Juan North Secondary School, Brent Sam. Karapichaima Senior Comprehensive, Micah Surrett. St. Benedict's College, Jabari Gray. Trinity College East, Christian Ransom. Naparima College, Shane Sandy, Signal Hill Secondary School, Addison Hackett, Fatima College, Adam Udenberg, Queen's Royal College, Jadel Poon Lewis, and St. Mary's College, Samuel Afonso. These are the names of the students for the First Citizen NEO Student Athlete Winners 2015. Janelle, thank you very much for assisting us with the presentations here. I'd now like to invite a gentleman to address you at this time. He represents BGT&T and well-known media personality now in the field of corporate communications. Please welcome Mr. Wendell Constantine. Hi, Wendell. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. The Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, the Honourable Daryl Smith, the President of the Secondary Schools Football League, Mr. Anthony Creed, and other members of the Executive, the Principal of Naparima College, Coach of the senior team, co-sponsors of Secondary Schools Football in Trinidad and Tobago, First Citizens and Coca-Cola's representatives, coaches, referees, the stars of football in Trinidad and Tobago's Youth League, all from the Secondary Schools Football League competitions, members of the media, and especially legendary players of the last 50 years of college and secondary schools football in Trinidad and Tobago. Good afternoon. We are in the right place at the right time. What may be historic about today, and I may be subject to some form of correction for those who were here before me, but for the best of my recollection, since BG Trinidad and Tobago's involvement as a sponsor of secondary schools football, today marks the perhaps first awards ceremony where a Minister of Government has made himself available to celebrate with the youth of Trinidad and Tobago in sport. So if anyone can come up here and tell me that I am wrong, I will retract my statement, and if I am on point, Minister, thank you for your support to the youth of Trinidad and Tobago. BG's involvement in secondary schools football has started in the year 2000. On an annual basis, we have met with the executive of the Secondary Schools Football League, first to understand what they wish to achieve in the year ahead, and then secondly, to see how we can improve on whatever were their aims and objectives. Our role in Trinidad and Tobago as the second largest natural gas company has been around the contribution to the development of Trinidad and Tobago. As we reflect on the last 27 years of our presence in the country since 1989, we have participated in every ebb and flow of our national development. There have been great times, and there have been not so good times. But there's one thing about us as citizens, and that has been our resilience to work together to achieve whatever the objectives have been. We believe in the power of partnership. Our partnership with the Secondary Schools Football League went way past sponsoring teams to participate every year. For the last 6 years, we have been involved in supporting the Youth Character Development Program for the winning teams out of secondary schools football. St. Anthony's College benefited from our investment over a 2-year period, and more recently, even up to earlier this week, East Mokarapo Secondary School were beneficiaries of a development program for the young players on the field. Because for the players themselves, it's not just about football. It's about playing sport and being sportsmanlike and having sportsmanship but it is also about discipline. It is thirdly about order, and fourthly about your academics. And whichever one you want to prioritize on whichever day, those four aspects of being involved in secondary school's activity will turn you into a success for the development of Trinidad and Tobago. We cannot have a society without order. We cannot have a society without discipline. Just watch how we drive on the road. We cannot have a society that isn't sportsmanlike. When we step out on the field of play, we do so with good character. And finally, we cannot have a society that isn't progressive by education, by learning, by sharing experiences. It happens in the oil and gas sector. It needs to happen in the wider society. At the end of the day, we are not islands. We are people working together to achieve some objective. As we are on the cusp of 2016 and a period that may appear to be uncertain, it is this time that we should depend on each other. Similarly to how the power of partnership between SSFL, BG, and First Citizens, eventually with Coca-Cola as well, has resulted in a 50th anniversary that has the legends sitting alongside today's stars in the presence of those who can make a difference to our entire country. Congratulations to the SSFL. Congratulations to the winning teams. Thank you to our legends. If you did not do what you did back then, we would not be standing here today to celebrate success. And at the end of the day, thank you to all for making a difference for the development of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wendell Constantine. We will now do the presentations for the competition sponsored by BGTT. We go first of all to the Intercol Girls competition, and there were competitions involved in the East, South, North, and Tobago zones. So in the East zone, first of all, Bishop Anstey East. South zone, Faizabad Secondary. North zone, Tranquility Secondary. And of course, in the Tobago zone, Scarborough Secondary. All teams received the trophies, medals, and the check for $3,000. Next, we go to the National Intercol Girls Competition. And starting in 5th place, Scarborough Secondary. 4th, Marabella South Secondary. Tranquility Secondary in 3rd place. So Tranquility making the trip to the front. 2nd place, Bishop Anstey East. And of course, the winners in 2015, Faizabad Secondary. It's the award recipients for the Intercol Girls Competition and National BGTT trophies. Yes, the winners, winners, Faizabad Secondary. Now we go to the Championship Division Boys Zonal Competitions. Let's start with the league. Central Division, Chaguanas North Secondary. East Zone, Five Rivers Secondary. North Zone, East Mucurapo Secondary. In the South Zone, Pleasantville Secondary. Representatives of Pleasantville on their way, and of course in Tobago, Signal Hill Secondary received their prize at a separate awards function. Big Five competition now, starting with Chaguanas North Secondary. Representatives of Chaguanas North here? Yes, please? That's the winner, okay. The winner at this time, of course, Signal Hill Secondary. Signal Hill, of course, will be receiving their award at a separate presentation ceremony. We go now to the league competition where we would go to the winners of the competition this year. Another win for Naparima College, and winning the BGTT Trophy and $23,000. Please welcome the representative of Naparima College. So the joint presentation, as the competition is jointly sponsored by BGT&T and First Citizens. Thank you very much, Wendell. And we have two of the All-Star winners who are here with us from the First Citizens NEO Student Athlete winners, and they will receive their presentations at this time. Right, the two winners from the First Citizens NEO Student Athlete Competition 2015. First, let's welcome from San Juan North Secondary, Brent Sam. And from Naparima College, Shane Sandy. They will receive their presentations at this time from Ms. Janelle Holloway, the product manager of First Citizens. Right, this is Shane Sandy. You just saw Brent Sam. This is Shane Sandy. And just to remind you, these are the winners of the First Citizens NEO Student Athletes. Thank you very much, Janelle. As we move on in the program, we would like to invite from Coca-Cola to address you at this time, and then to present the awards for the Coca-Cola competitions, Mr. Vijay Ramcharita. Mr. Ramcharita is the sales manager of South Operations at Coca-Cola.
Master of Ceremonies, the President and members of the SSFL, the Honorable Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Mr. Daryl Smith, corporate sponsors, BG and FCB, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Coca-Cola is proud to be part of the development of youths and the nation through sports. We have always been advocating healthy lifestyles for a number of years through sponsorships, employees, and our advertising campaigns. With this said, we would like to pledge our continued support to football and to the secondary schools football league. To all the participants, to all the participants and teams who worked hard to be part of the league and tournament, regardless of being a winning team or not, you are all winners. for leading healthy lifestyles and constructive people. We would like to say congratulations to a fantastic season and remind everyone to be healthy and always strive for excellence. Thank you.
Right, so we go to the Coca-Cola competitions, Intercol Boys Zonal competitions from the Central Zone. The winners this year, Karapichaima East Secondary. East Zone, St. Augustine Secondary. North Zone, St. Anthony's College. South Zone, Naparima College. And the Tobago winner, Speyside High School. Representative of Naparima College here with us. The South Zone, so just to repeat, the Intercol, Coca-Cola Intercol winners of Central Karapichaima, East Zone St. Augustine, North St. Anthony's, South Zone Naparima, and Tobago Zone Speyside High School. Honorable mentions, first of all, before we present the trophy to the winner, Speyside High School, Karapichaima, St. Augustine, and St. Anthony's outstanding performances in 2015, but the winners in 2015 and completing the double, Naparima College. And Naparima College also will receive, of course, the Coca-Cola trophy. Congratulations to Naparima College. Mr. Ramcharita, thank you very much for assisting us. We were due to have at this time an address by the representative from Digicel Sportsmax, who, as you heard earlier, televised live the national finals. So that was one of the great developments of the year 2015. They've not been represented today, and Digicel Sportsmax, they have sent their apologies and their congratulations to today's winners. We'll go straight, of course, to the presentation of the All-Star teams. Presentation of the All-Star teams, and first of all, we'll go with the 2015 girls team and then the boys team for the year. I'd first like to invite to assist us with the presentations for the All-Star girls teams. If I could get Mr. Gally Cummings to assist us with the presentation of the awards for the girls teams for 2015. Mr. Cummings, former national player and of course former national coach, and joining us on stage. All right, let's start with the goalkeepers. First of all, okay, Mr. Cummings on stage with us, and let's start with the outstanding goalkeepers of the year 2015. First of all, from Faizabad Secondary, Shamika Rocastle. And from Bishop Anstey East, Malika Didier. Now, after you receive your award, please stay on stage with us for the presentation of the top 5 players and the player of the year. So this is the 2015 All-Star Girls team. So first of all, the presentation to Shamika Rocastle and then to Malika Didier of Bishop Anstey East. All right, and please, ladies, when you're finished, please just line up at the back. Thank you. Next we go to the defenders, and the outstanding defenders and the basis of Faizabad's success in 2015, starting with Tamara Johnson. And Jara Thomas, also of Faizabad Secondary. Also among the defenders from Bishop Anstey East, Jaisal Ford. From Scarborough Secondary, Lakita Halls. From Diego Martin Central Secondary, Malika Marcel. And from Bishop Anstey, Port of Spain, Renee Ward. Outstanding defenders in 2015. Moving on to the outstanding midfielders in 2015, and you would expect a few from Faizabad here. The next three from Faizabad. First of all, Crystal Preddy, Colette Morgan, and Rayan Montano. The triumvirate from Faizabad Secondary in the midfield, Crystal Preddy, Colette Morgan, and Rayan Montano. Also outstanding in midfield in 2015 from Diego Martin Central Secondary, Akila Crawford. From Scarborough Secondary, Janelle Lawrence. And from St. Augustine Secondary, Naomi Guerra. So these are the outstanding midfielders from the All-Star Girls team for 2015. Now we go to the outstanding forwards of 2015 among the girls. From Scarborough Secondary, Aaliyah Charles. From Faizabad Secondary, Renique Primus. And also from Faizabad, Kadeen Louison. From Bishop Anstey East, among the outstanding forwards for 2015, Jaylene Sobers. And from Diego Martin Central Secondary, Kadeen Jack. Right, so we have the presentation to the last member of the forwards, Kadeen Jack. All right, so let's hear it for the 2015 All-Star Girls team. Now, who are the top 5 players of the year? And after you receive your award of the top 5, please line up to the right of Mr. Gally Cummings. First of all, in no particular order, the top 5 players from Faizabad Secondary, Tamara Johnson. Tamara, please, to your right. And from Faizabad Secondary again, Rayan Montano. Third member of the top 5, also from Faizabad Secondary, Kadeen Louison. Fourth on the list from the top 5 players from Bishop Anstey East, J-Cell Ford. And rounding off the top 5 from Scarborough Secondary, Aaliyah Charles. So the top 5, 4 of the 5 here with us today, and a Player of the Year for 2015 from Faizabad Secondary, Rayan Montano. So there you have it, Rayan Montano, the outstanding player for 2015 and the All-Star Girls team. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause once again for the outstanding performances. Thank you very much, and Mr. Cummings, thank you very much for assisting us.
No problem.
So let's go now to the 2015 All-Star Boys team. I'd like to ask to assist us with the presentation of these awards, Mr. Stephen Hart, the head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago national men's team, to assist us with the presentation. I'm sure you might be seeing some of these guys on the team in the near future. Right, let's start off with the outstanding goalkeepers for 2015. Denzel Smith of Shiva Boys Hindu College. From Queen's Royal College, another outstanding goalkeeper this year, Jadal Poon Lewis. And from the defensive unit, some of the outstanding players defensively in 2015. Let's start off first of all with the defender Joshua Marshall of St. Augustine Secondary. From St. Benedict's College, Daryl Kotu. From Naparima College, Nicholas Thomas. From just across town here in San Fernando, Presentation College, Keston Julian. From Queen's Royal College, Adrian Constantine. From Naparima College, among the defenders, Anderson Toussaint. And also defensively, Stefan Smith, also of Naparima College. So those were the names of the outstanding defenders for 2015. One or two members of the outstanding midfielders are not here with us. We'll call all of their names. First, from Queen's Royal College, John Paul Rochford. And of course, he is training right now, I understand, in England. From Presentation College, San Fernando, Kareem Riley. From Shiva Boys Hindu College, Terrell Emmanuel. From Naparima College, another outstanding midfielder, Isaiah Hudson. Excellent season in 2015. Also from Naparima College, Michael Basdeo. And finally, rounding off the list of, well, in fact, from Naparima College, Shane Sandy. And finally, rounding off the list of outstanding midfielders, Jesse Joseph of St. Augustine Secondary. The outstanding forwards in 2015, there are 6 to mention here. From Queen's Royal College, Dimitri Dunkley. From St. Benedict's College, Shamar Ravello. From St. Anthony's College, Keaton St. Hilaire. From San Juan North Secondary, Brent Sam. From Naparima College, Jared Das. And rounding off the list of outstanding forwards in 2015 from Speyside High School, Kerry MacDonald. So Kerry MacDonald rounding off the list, Jared Das, also from Naparima College, and from St. Benedict's College, Shamar Ravello. All right, so we have all of the, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 2015 All-Star players for the year. So congratulations to them. We go. From Naparima College, Isaiah Hudson. Also from Naparima College, Shane Sandy. And Shane, if you don't mind staying in front with us as you're part of the top 5. From San Juan North Secondary, Brent Sam. And rounding off the top 5 players of the year 2015 from Naparima College, Jared Das. So these are the top 5 players: Terrell Emmanuel, Isaiah Hudson, Shane Sandy, Brent Sam, and Jared Das. Only one can win. Who is the player of the year for 2015? Congratulations to Brent Sam of San Juan North Secondary. So there we have it, the outstanding players for 2015. Congratulations, gentlemen, and thank you very much, Mr. Hart, for assisting us.
When I came in, when I was given this opportunity and this humbling opportunity to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago at this level, I was told a few things from the elders, because I always like to listen to those who have gone before and the elders, and I'll come to that point a little while. They said the Minister of Sport is invited to the most events out of all the ministers for obvious reasons. There are 50 plus sports that occur in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, every day and any given day, there's some form of awards, league, function, and so on. Today alone, I've been to 4 already. I have 2 more to go to. As you all know, the marathon is going on in a little while. However, when I got the call for this event, I made sure and told my assistant to clear my schedule so I could be here with you all this evening. Not knowing that apparently ministers don't usually attend this event, but I'll go a step further. Out of all the events that I've been to, and I think I will be in for the next few years, if there's one event I would have wanted to be at is this, and I'll tell you a while. 100 pounds ago, I also played football for Trinidad and Tobago and at this secondary schools league level. And this league is the reason why I'm standing here today. I could say that without anybody or anything stopping me from saying that. And I'll just share real briefly my story so the young people here, some of you all in the room here may know the story already, Mr. Cummins and some others who were part in shaping my life. I played in this league for its 25th anniversary. I ain't telling all my age. And I was fortunate to represent St. Mary's College. I think I've been told I'm the only player in the history of Trinidad to represent St. Mary's College at intercall level, represent Fatima College at intercall level, and then went back and represent St. Mary's College again. And there are a number of people, I think there's a little club with people who represented both schools. But there's a reason for that, and I'll get back to that in a while. But I played in this league in the late 80s. My final year in 1991, I was one of the captains for St. Mary's College. And we won the national title that year. In fact, maths and numbers and figures are very weird. It was 25 years prior, St. Mary's College won the league. And this year is 25 years since St. Mary's won the league. So I don't know if it's due for St. Mary's to win a national title or not. But nevertheless, I was in lower 6 at the time, and we won the league, the national league. It was an all North Zone final, and that's another thing I think made a little history where the first time 2 North teams played in South. We played QRC, Queen's Royal College, and we won that game. And Mr. Cummins, Gali, was like a father to me. His son and I are almost best friends, like brothers. He was also on the team. And the team was second to last during the first round. And we recruited Mr. Cummins in to assist the team and so on. And I think it may be, don't quote me, it might be a record today, still in the league. I don't know who has the most goals in the league, but there's a young man named Jason Rock who Mr. Cummins took to the side and worked with for hours and hours. And he jumped in the second round. Again, the format was different then to your time. From 6 goals to 19 goals in 7 games. And that propelled us to win the entire league, to come second in the North Zone and so on. And a little history again. That team of 91, 15 of the players on that team got scholarships to the United States. 15, of which 10 were full. I was one of those guys that were fortunate. The other 5 went up on half and eventually were able to do other jobs and get the degrees. But all 15 graduated with the degrees and masters. Some are dentists, Dr. Kevin Moores, Dr. Oliver Harper. I see in Arnold Dorica there, Arnold string up a couple of those guys a few times and poison us a few times. But my point is, this league shaped me and gave me the opportunity to be seen, to get an opportunity to play at the NCAA level at college, to get my bachelor's and master's degree. A couple other players on that team went on to play professional and on the senior team. You all know Lyndon Chubby. Chubby Lyndon, yeah, right? He played in Hibernia, he played a couple other professional teams and stuff. He was fortunate to go on and represent the country at the senior team. He was the only one, I think, after a number of us played at the youth level. But after I graduated, I came back to Trinidad because I wanted to serve, and I worked for a company called G-Tech. You all know what G-Tech is? G-Tech is the American company that assists and works for the NLCB. They're the guys who do Playway, Lotto, Cashpot. And I'm one of the guys who are the fortunate or unfortunate, depending how you look at it, to design Lotto Plus, to design Scratch, to design Playway. No, I don't have the numbers for the 5 million later. No, I don't think they have any bacchanal behind the scenes. When I was there, everything was cool. But I was very fortunate to have a very, very good job on my graduation, upon graduation. I was able to purchase a home at 22. At 22, I had my own house. At 25, I was able to purchase a large portion of land in Santa Cruz. So I'm just telling you these things, not to show off, but just to show you that I was exactly where you all were 25 years ago and able to be the Minister of Sport today, thanks to this league. If I didn't have this league, I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity to go abroad. And I always like to propel and push young men, not that I'm saying anything against UE and UTT and local universities, because they do well, I have a lot of friends. My wife is an attorney, she attended UE. But there's something about being given the opportunity to travel abroad and to study abroad I have friends from all over the world. Our team at St. Rose in New York, where I played, had players from over 13 different countries. And we're still very good friends today. Some of them are multi-millionaires in their fields. Some of them are doing very well in their fields, most of them. And we constantly stay in touch, especially now with the technology that we didn't have in your days, the WhatsApps and so on, where we could communicate and stuff. But I want to give some kudos to the league, because I told you all, my background is maths and statistics and data, marketing, advertising. I love numbers, I love data, I love statistics. And you would have heard me say in previous meetings and presentations in the press, that is something that this ministry and this government is going to be pushing to ensure that we make the right decisions, because in the past we have been making decisions just on how the breeze blow. We need to have data. And as I told you all before, I attend a number of events and I collect and keep these, because each event I get one of these booklets. And I must say, the information and data that is in here is the best I've seen. And I want to give the Secondary Schools League a round of applause. You see, young people, as you know, the Ministry of Sport is now Sport and Youth Affairs. And I'm very passionate. I've always worked with young people, even as my days as chairman of the Diego Martin Regional Corporation. And I totally agree. I think young people are different to our time. I think you're all on instantaneous rewards and results. In our day, things were a little slower. We had to go through the process. But young people I know, I speak to them every day, and the main thing that we hear is that they want a voice. They want a voice. They want to be able to have a voice. And I agree. I think you all need to have a voice, and this government is going to ensure that we propel you all to have that voice. But you all must promise and work with us to have an ear. You all must have an ear to gentlemen like these gentlemen here on this table. You all must have an ear and eyes to read and see the history that went into this league for you all to be here today. And I remember we didn't have cable. I grew up in Diamond Vale. We probably got cable in '92. I was one of the last in the Vale to get cable. We didn't have phones and so on. Our entertainment was sitting down and listening to these gentlemen's stories and hearing what they went through in Mahaica Oval, and what happened in the Haiti game, and what happened November 19, and what happened when they didn't get picked. And we'll sit down on the bus drives and the plane flights for hours, just like little kids' story time, just hearing the stories and laughing. And those guys could tell stories, and they always have a little flair or kicks at the end that will really make it enjoyable. And that is something that I plan as the Minister of Sport to do, to bridge that gap. Because we have a lot to learn from the legends who have passed before. And just looking across this room right now, I'm seeing so many talented young and people who played in the leagues before. That is really amazing that a small island like Trinidad and Tobago could produce such talent. Speaking of WhatsApp, I took a couple pictures of the players of the Century Mail and the teams and so on, and I sent it to a group. You know, WhatsApp is have these different groups. I'm on several. I'm on a St. Mary's Old Boys group, a Fatima Old Boys group, and so on. So they wouldn't have had, this is the first time I saw this document. And I don't have to tell them, my phone in my chest here buzzing, because there's only conversation who ain't get picked and who ain't get picked and so on and so forth. But they were very pleased, and a number of them sent to say that they were pleased. And I want to, with the selection, and I know it would have been difficult, and I'm sure Mr. Creed and his team would have gotten some licks. And that's what I like about sport, because we are very competitive, and they're damn right to be vexed if they didn't get picked. Because we all grow up being competitive, and everybody would like to be on this list. And if it wasn't so, I'll be worried. I'll be worried what's going on. We were all athletes, we were all each other's throats on the field. What's the difference now to say why they wasn't on the team? But I think the criteria, Mr. Creed went through it with me and the selection process, and it is what it is. I think I should have been on the team, but again, that's a different discussion. But nevertheless, I was talking about the data and collection, but what's more important is the data analyzing and what we do with it. Case in point in this booklet here. What blew me away with this is two teams, Malik and St. Anthony's. And I'll tell you why. I remember I was at the Oval when St. Anthony's with Grosvenor and they made it for the first time into Intercol. I remember that. I was there. I remember so much so, St. Anthony's players used to come to St. Mary's and other schools because they didn't have a sixth form. So they used to come to our school. We used to drive Grosvenor mad. Because all these good players used to come to our school, but that stopped. But what shocked me is how fast and how quickly those two teams reached to this prominence. You would have heard Mr. Creed and them talk about the history with regards to St. Mary's College, Naparima, and so on, how they've been there for so long. And I want to give those two schools a round of applause for that. If you look at the statistics and data, a blind man could see. But when I talk about the analysis, we have two legends in my mind in secondary schools living today. Mr. Nigel Grosvenor, if you please stand. And I don't know if he's here, Mr. Bertie Sinclair. Is he here? He's not here? Mr. Grosvenor? Congratulations. We should be, the ministry, the secondary school, we should be taking your brain apart, dissecting it and trying to figure out what you all did during this period of time. And that's what we need to do overall in Trinidad and Tobago, not just in sport. Look at the bad, look at the good, but what we tend to do is want to criticize the bad and pull down the good. That's our nature, that's our culture. Instead of looking at it in a different dimension where we could look and see what they did different in those periods of times. What was their diet? What was their training schedule? What was their recruiting process? What was their training systems that they used to be so successful so quickly with so many titles? One of the things I also told Mr. Creed, again, I'm a numbers man, now look at this. While you would see there are two teams that would have won the male and female this year, Naparima College being the male and so on, does that necessarily mean that they were the best school in football? Same thing in sports. As you would have heard, this government and myself, I've also been told I'm the first minister to meet with every governing body in Trinidad and Tobago. Never has it been done before. In the first 100 days we did that. Because we're done with the ivory tower approach. We're about consultation and meeting with people. And coming to these meetings, coming to these functions may not necessarily be a meeting, but you might hear a story, you might get a booklet, you might hear something new from somebody in the crowd. And that is the level of grassroots and consultation we're going to be doing throughout my tenure at least, and my period. But my point, what I was bringing up with the data and the information is, in attending these awards, the Sportsman and Sportswoman Awards that we give, I was just talking to Wendell about that. But do we really have a Sport of the Year? And how do we calibrate that? How do we calibrate a Sport of the Year? Is it awards? Is it participation? Is it how many females you're able to play? Have you gone to sports in different geographical areas that haven't been playing the sport? And that is something that we need to calibrate as a team together, come up with some benchmarks and work together to start to calibrate. Even here in this room today, if you look at the data and statistics, there are certain teams in different levels that has done exceptionally well. We probably need to look at dissecting it and seeing a formula that could also pick a team of the year. You understand what I'm saying? It's little things like that will assist in terms of ensuring and pushing and propelling teams forward. One of the things that I said earlier in my presentation is bridging the gap. I was the chairman of Daryl Martin North Government School for a period of time. Angus Eve played there, Maximus Dan went there, I think Carlos Edwards went there as well. Number of talent. That school has its issues, just like a number of schools in Trinidad and Tobago. But the number one reason for the issues that they had, which most of you all know, is the lack of male mentorship in these schools. Great grandmothers at 40. Young men coming to school after working 12-hour shifts at KFC, in the KFC uniform, going in the classroom and sleep and waking up to play a game and scoring a hat trick. Mentorship of men. Number of us here volunteer, and I really want to praise and thank you all who have volunteered here over the years. A number of people don't have the time and so on, but we need to find a way to have alumni and those who have played the games and played other sports and who have passed through the schools to come back in the schools and assist with mentoring the young men And the young women to extent, I think the women on good footing right now, but we're having issues with men. You would have seen a 15-year-old boy in Aruka did how many robberies in one day? You saw that in the papers today? 15 years old did like 10 robberies in one day. Your age. We need to work with the young people. So Mr. Creed and us at the sport company, by the way, the sports company is pleased to have assisted with the donation of some of the trophies here this evening. We want to set up, and again I'll be consulting with the legends and you all again, because as I said, it's not I on the ivory tower, it's us working together as a team, to have a parallel alumni league running with the secondary schools league. That is a way that we could pull in the elders who play the game to come back into the school, to mentor and talk to the players, not just in football and cricket, and we look at other sports to start, a 30 and under, 40 and under, 50 organized league, and these teams could win cash prizes to benefit the school, whether it's a computer lab, a science lab, and so on. What y'all think of that, guys? So the only problem is, for the first time in my life in business, and as chairman and as a minister, I have actually, and this is no lie, I've actually had to do my budget in pencil. Because every day with the changing in oil and gas prices, I have to be rubbing off and changing plans. But it is what it is. I'm not here to politicize, I'm not here to bring doom and gloom with regards to the oil price and the budget and so on. It is what it is. Trinidadians have faced adversities over the years, and we have always conquered. I'm not going to say God is a Trini, but I think the spirit of Trinidad and Tobago, the people, the athletes, the parents, we all pull together and we will overcome this oil price issue and the budgetary issues that we have in together. Right? We have to be cognizant of the fact that life is not the same as it is. We have to change a little way how our lifestyle has been in the past. But again, we will prevail and work together to get past this. I also want to talk, as I'm talking about the figures and money, I have to talk about the sponsors. Because as I told you all earlier, I was first and very privileged, and it was very exciting and entertaining to meet with all 53 governing bodies. I'm talking about archery, chess, drafts, believe it or not, ballroom dancing, Scrabble. Those are all considered sports and get funding from us. And it was very exciting and interesting to hear the issues. Some similar, some different, some over the top. But my point is, you keep hearing certain names of organizations and companies that have been coming forward and stepping up to assist the young people and sport in Trinidad and Tobago over the years. And I want us to give Coca-Cola and BG a round of applause, please. Gentlemen, please stand. And First Citizens. Please stand. Thank you. The reason why I held back First Citizens, because First Citizens has been doing quite a few of stuff at the primary school with the chess and so on, and I really want to thank you all. I know BG has been spending in football and in cricket. Coca-Cola has been spending in football and cricket as well over the years. Billions of dollars has been pumped in this country, and they didn't have to. They didn't have to. One of the things that we're looking at, again, in the future, but it's done in North America, which I think is a no-brainer, I don't know why it hasn't been done as well, is people, normal people like yourself, could donate to sports and also get a tax break and a tax write-off. That is done in North America and first world countries all the time. So if you want to give football $1,000, you could just go to an app or go to the internet or just donate it, and you get a little cacada off your NIS or your other taxes and so on. And these are things, because I know people want to help, they may not have the time, but they have the cash. Sometimes it's difficult to find where to donate and so on. So we have to find clever ways to bridge that gap with the budgetary deficit that they may have. And as I always say in closing, we might be in pessimistic times with the budgets and with figures and the economy, but I think this is a perfect opportunity for football and sport overall to pull the country forward. We may not be able to spend on the movie tongues and the fetes and the events and the alcohol and the so on, the traveling and so on. But let's start by going to the parks with our families. Let's start by going to the games. Go and see a Pro League game. Go and see a cricket game. You know, encourage your children to go out and enjoy the beautiful. Look how beautiful today was. So many outdoor activities going on. It always have to be the fetes and so on. Not that I'm saying that's not part of our culture, But in stepping back and discussing, because I'm sure all of you will have discussions with your family. If you didn't do it yet, you need to do it now. I'm painting the reality as it is. But start to plan agendas with regards to entertainment and fun back in the parks. And as the Minister of Sport, we're going to be doing things to ensure that the parks are safe and secure and well maintained as much as we can with the budget that it is, to ensure that you could go out there and enjoy it. And in closing, I see Mr. Hart here. I saw the president of the TTFA name here. I don't know if he's here right now. You all are the future of Trinidad and Tobago's national football team, both men and women, and both has been doing very well. I want to give Mr. Hart a round of applause. Mr. Hart, as Minister of Sport, you and I talk quite often. We are here to support you as best as we can. Olympics, I said it from day one, the Olympics and the World Cup are our top priority. We know what that could do to the economy, we know what that could do to the psyche, we know what that could do to the opportunity for you all to get scholarships and contracts. And we'll do the best to ensure that we could support the national soccer warriors, both male and female, as best as possible to make it to the World Cup and whatever other tournaments they may have. To the legends, Mr. Cummins, Mr. Dinoon, and that whole table there, and the others that may be spread out across, I want to thank you all for paving the way for me, paving the way to my 15 brothers who were able to get full rights, those who went on to get scholarships, to all the young men in this room that may get scholarships and go on to play professional. If it wasn't for guys like you all paving the way for us, it wouldn't be possible, and I humbly thank you for that. Let's give them a round of applause. And one last thing, I spoke about scholarships. I got the 5th highest, I think, in SATs when I did it in the country. Right, at 8 or 9 passes. Don't forget the books. It's easy to get chained up and tied up to get caught up in the whole, you know, what goes on with regards to winning and playing football. They both go hand in hand. And you need to have your books in order. One of the things that Mr. Creed and I are talking about is also picking an all-star team from this team with those who have the criteria, because what is happening now, you all will know, we have a president at Howard University who's a Trinidadian who loves sport, and there are a number of other schools and clubs, case in point, my colleagues who played abroad, who coaches are always interested in players in Trinidad and Tobago, and I've seen it. You must have the balance, you must have your SATs, you must have your passes. So we're also looking at having a parallel team with players that have the passes and the SATs, so we could have a session where we have a number of coaches from North America come down to see the players, or we invite a Jamaica or Barbados or St. Lucia and have a tournament down here where the coaches could come in one place and pick the players, not necessarily that are the best, but have the qualifications to move forward to get a football scholarship. And I want the Secondary Schools League to be the pilot project in that, because we plan to do that in basketball, swimming, and other sports as well. Because my job is to ensure that we get as many of our young people out there on the international stage to get opportunities. So again, Happy New Year. Enjoy your carnival, be safe. Start training early for next year. I know it's going to be very competitive next year. Sponsors, thank you. Legends, thank you. Coaches, parents, teachers, organizers, principals. God bless you all and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you all.
I would mention that not all of the players who are honored here today are with us, but we would like to mention their names all the same. First of all, from St. Augustine, Cody Johnson. From Davie High School, Kayla Taylor. Kayla is represented by Mr. Shade, that's Mariah Shade's father, who will collect on her behalf. They're collecting, the Shades are collecting for Kayla Taylor and Mariah Shade. Hill, she's not here with us. Karen Forbes. From St. Augustine, Avenel Isaac. The award for Nadia James. And right after for Anastasia Prescott. Joining on stage also from Moruga, Daryl Mascow. From Pleasantville, Cecile Hines. From Davie High School, Stephanie Beam. Stephanie is represented by Sarah Joy Romaine, I understand today. Also from Union Claxton Bay, Akila Molon. From St. Augustine, Annalise Cummings. From St. Augustine, Naomi Guerra Campbell. And rounding off the list of top players from the year 2000 to 2014, Kenya Cordner. Right, top players for 2000 to 2014. Thank you very much, ladies and sir, for assisting us with being up here with us. We now have the awards for the top coaches of the 50-year period, 1964 moving on. I'd like to invite to assist us with the presentation of these awards, Mr. Leonson Lewis, if you don't mind assisting us with these presentations, the top boys coaches of the year 50-year period and the top girls coaches. From St. Anthony's College, 12 titles, Mr. Nigel Grosner. Mr. Grosner here with us. Congratulations to him, 12 titles in all, outstanding achievement. From San Fernando Technical Institute with 9 titles, Mr. Mohammed Issa. Now, San Fernando Technical, one of the outstanding schools in the 1980s. I think Leo had a stint there. Refused to play against Naparima College when he was playing for San Fernando Technical. From Malik Secondary, 9 titles, Mr. Kenneth Franco. We also like to honor for the 6 titles won for St. Augustine, Mr. Kenneth Thomas. Of course, he has passed on, so we'd like to ask Mr. Sean Best to assist us by collecting the award on his behalf. And Sean, don't go too far because we'd like you to also collect on behalf of Mr. Michael Grayson of St. Augustine, 5 titles he won in his time. Mr. Grayson is out of the country at this time. And finally, from Queen's Royal College, Mr. Leonard Curtin, and 5 titles won by Queen's Royal College. I don't know if there's a representative of Mr. Curtin here. Next, for Davie Secondary, 12 titles, Mr. Arnold Murphy. Also an outstanding achievement, 12 titles over the 30-year period of girls football in Trinidad and Tobago. And finally, one of the outstanding girls' schools in Trinidad and Tobago, Desiree Sargent coached St. Augustine to 6 titles. The 6 pioneer schools who started the Colleges League, which became the Secondary Schools Football League in 1976. There were 3 schools in the north and 3 schools in the south. Let's start with the north schools first of all, and with representatives for St. Mary's College, Queen's Royal College, and Fatima College. Please join us on stage at this time. These are the 6 pioneer schools. So in the north, once again, the 3 of the 6 pioneer schools from north are St. Mary's College, Queen's Royal College, and Fatima. No, no. Stand there, please. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And now from the South Zone, the three outstanding schools, and we will have representatives from St. Benedict's College, Naparima College, and Presentation College. And now, from Presentation College, if you could remain on stage, please. And now from Naparima College, Richard will join us, manager of the current team. All right, if we could just get a group photo with you all first of all before you leave. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, these are for the Secondary Schools Football League National Officers Long Service Awards. The first is a posthumous award to a gentleman who stamped his name here at Naparima College. He served as secondary school's president and vice president for 12 years, Mr. Roy Jagrup Singh. We remember him today. Could we have a representative of Mr. Jagrup Singh to join us? Percy, I don't know if you could join us on stage, just on his behalf. And also the General Secretary, so this is Percy Samlal Singh collecting on behalf. Percy, if you don't mind staying on stage with us. And next, the General Secretary and Treasurer for 20 years, also not with us, Mr. Orman Gabriel. His wife Edwina will assist us by collecting the award. So Ms. Gabriel representing the late husband who was the General Secretary of the Secondary Schools Football League. Also, we'd like to congratulate, he is not here with us, I understand, the longest serving president in league history, Mr. Ewing Davis. Mr. Davis was president and served for 17 years. I don't know if we have a representative for Mr. Davis. But next we go to the General Secretary of the league and Treasurer. He served for 23 years, Mr. Azad Mohammed Khan. And finally, 19 years of service, the current president and former vice president, Mr. Anthony Creed. And if the recipients could please just step to the middle of the stage for the final photo. The top male players, these have been shared up into decades. So we start with the 1960s. Mr. Creed is going to help us with the presentation of these. Some of them are not with us, so I will read out all of the names and you can make your way to the stage as you hear your names. First of all, from St. Benedict's College, Leroy De Leon. From St. Benedict's College also, Warren Archibald. And to complete the trio, well, in fact, there are about 5 names here. From St. Benedict's, Steve David. Also another one of the outstanding members of that St. Benedict's team, Bobby Sukram. And finally, Wilfred Cave. Outstanding players from the St. Augustine team that dominated schools football in the 1960s. CIC had an excellent team during that time. One of their top scorers, Dr. Alvin Henderson. And also from CIC, Mr. Ian Bain. Also some brilliant players in Fatima College, none more so than Everett Galley Cummings. Also from Fatima College, Roger Dupree. QRC players of note, Ellis Sadafal. A familiar sight around the Aranguez Savannah. And to complete the list of the top players of the 1960s from Benedict's, Jan Stedman, and from QRC, Rolf Clark. Mr. Creed is going to stay with us for the 1970s and the top players of the 1970s. And some of them are here with us. Most of them will call the names of the top players. From Trinity College, Richard Shinapu. Belmont Boys Secondary, Wayne Lewis. Ron Laforet from Belmont. Fatima College, Garnett Craig. Leroy Spann of San Fernando Technical. Vernon Skinner of Trinity College. Ian Clausel, he is here with us, sorry. He is not here with us today. East Mucurapo Secondary. CIC, Luciano Woodley. He would have passed away a few years ago. From John Donaldson Technical Institute, Clayton Morris. And from San Fernando Technical, Peter Mitchell. I'd now like to invite for the top players of the 1980s and 90s, could Mr. Nigel Grosvenor just join us on stage for the presentation of the top players of the 1980s and 90s. Some of these he would have seen firsthand. Some of these players are not here with us, so I will call the names, and if those with us can join us. Of Tranquility and San Fernando Technical, here's a familiar name, Russell Latapy. From St. Augustine, God Polonais. From Signal Hill, Dwight York. From East Mucurapo Secondary, what was Mucurapo in those days, Angus Eve. On the list of top players of the 1980s, from East Mucurapo, then Mucurapo, of course, Hudson Charles. The man they call Marvelous Marvin. And finally, from the 1980s, Naparima College, Leonson Lewis. we have a group photo. If you gentlemen just come across to the middle of the stage. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the top players, representatives of the 1980s. From Arima Secondary, Mickey Trotman, and I think Mr. Trotman is represented today by his mom. From St. Anthony's College, Carlos Edwards, the man with the spanner in the 1990s. From St. Benedict's College, Wesley Webb. This is Wesley. From Malik, Sean David. St. Augustine, Jaron Nixon. St. Benedict's College, Ivan Sampson. From El Dorado East, Sean Boney. From San Juan North, Marvin Oliver. From East Mucurapo, he's now campaigning in India, Cornell Glenn. From Malik, Gary Glasgow. And from Malik, Kerwin Jamat. And finally from El Dorado, the man from the Blue Thunder, Stern John. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the representatives and some of the players of the 1990s. Top players indeed. Here is a list of the top players of the first decade of the century. Atula Guerra, East Mucurapo Secondary. From Naparima College, Shannon Winchester. From Malik Secondary, Devon Josling. From St. Anthony's College, now campaigning in the Middle East, Kenwin Jones. From St. Benedict's College, outstanding goal in the 2001 FIFA Under-17 World Championships, Nkosi Blackman. From Naparima College, Gerald Forbes. From East Mucurapo Secondary, Kevin Molino. Still recovering from injury. From San Juan North, Elijah Manners. And Elijah, a former secondary schools player of the year some years ago, and hurt Naparima College in one final, I remember, Big Five. From El Dorado East, had an outstanding season to lead his team to the finals of the Intercol, Jamal Gay. This is Jamal. From St. Augustine, Elton John. Another outstanding player in the first part of the century. And finally, rounding off the list of the top players from the first decade of the 20th century, from St. Anthony's College, Kevon Neves. Gentlemen and lady, if you don't mind coming to the front for the group photo for the top players of the first decade of the 21st century. Let's hear it for them, ladies and gentlemen. And Dr. Henderson, if you don't mind staying with us for the top goalkeepers of the first half century of secondary schools football. Some of them I'm sure you would have scored again, maybe. Some from QRC, Brian Bain. And Mr. Bain, sorry to bring a guy who scored a few goals against you here, but it was inevitable. He said they still beat them anyway. From CIC, Trevor Lieber. Also from CIC, the ESPN analyst Shaka Hislop. From El Dorado East, Clayton Ince. From East Mucurapo, of course Mucurapo in those days, Ross Russell. From Princestown Secondary, Marvin Phillips. Marvin also played as striker for one period. And from St. Anthony's College, Jan Michael Williams. So here we are, the top goalkeepers of the first 50 years, if you don't mind coming to the middle. Top goalkeepers, ladies and gentlemen. So next we go to the top schools of the decade. I'd like to ask if he's still with us, Mr. Sadafal, is he still with us? Or he's in fact has left us now. All right, so I'd like to ask to assist us with the presentation. Oh, Mr. Foston, Marvin, if you don't mind assisting us with a few presentations here. I still have vivid memories of your outstanding bicycle kick. Saw that on the news many times. So, the top boys' schools of the decade, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 90s, and coming up. Let's start off with the top boys' school of the 1960s. Winning 5 titles in the 1960s, Queen's Royal College. Great teams of the 1970s, winning 9 titles in the decade, absolutely dominant, San Fernando Technical Institute. All right, there's a discussion going on as which of them will keep the award. If you don't mind staying on stage, Leo. From Signal Hill Secondary, winning 11 titles in the 1980s, Signal Hill Secondary. They're not here with us, but congratulations, and we'd like to mark their effort. From the 1990s, the outstanding school with 9 titles, Malik Secondary. We have several representatives of Malik. The outstanding school of the first decade of the 21st century, St. Anthony's College, 10 titles during that period. Now to the girls' schools, the outstanding school of the first period of the new century, Malik Secondary, 15 titles, and of course the outstanding school in 2007. And another one of the outstanding schools for the girls' schools from 2008 to present, Debe Secondary. right, so teams of the decades, different teams of the decades, their representatives here with us. I know you held your position well when you played, you know? Boys, most league and intercol doubles. And don't go too far, Mr. Grosvenor, because it is your school that won it. St. Anthony's College, 3 titles. 3 times they won the intercol league double, 2002, 2003, and 2011. Finally, the boys' most league titles, 6 in all for Malik Secondary, 1990, 1992, 1993, 1994, 95, and the year 2000. Signal Hill winning St. Anthony's first of all here, winning in 1997, 2002, 2003, 2006, 2011, and 2012. And the principal of Naparima College will collect on behalf of the school. Naparima winning 6 intercol titles, 1973, 1976, 1977, 1999, 2000, 2007. And finally, Signal Hill, I want to mention them, 1982, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1995, and 2010. Daryl Smith, Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, to assist us with the presentation of the last set of awards. So, would representatives of those schools join us on stage? Sorry, folks, I've been doing 50 over cricket for the last few weeks, so it's been a little bit rough. So Malik Secondary winning 4 titles, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004. And Debe High School winning titles in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2012. Don't go too far. We have some more awards for Malik and Debe, so don't go too far for us. Most league title for girls, 7 in all, Malik Secondary. Malik won league titles in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, and 2007. I guess that spells absolute dominance. Girls intercall titles, Debe and Malik winning 4 titles apiece here. So let's welcome once again a representative from Malik. Malik won the girls intercall titles 2001 to 2004. All 4 titles were won by Malik during that period. As for Debe High School winning 4, they picked up where Malik left off. They won titles in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2012. Thank you very much. I know Malik will have one more to come up. Most boys titles, we want to mention there's 14 titles in all. Signal Hill Secondary, 14 over the period. And for the most girls titles, with 15 in all, Malik Secondary. 7 league, 4 intercol, and 4 more to add to that. And as we go to the final award, I'd like to ask the president of the league to join us on stage for the presentation of the final award, and one of the big awards, Mr. Anthony Creed joining us on stage. The final award is to the player of the 50 years. 50 years of football is a very long time. It's a very difficult decision to make, but after long deliberation, the judges, the adjudicators have decided that the player of the 50 years is none other than Mr. Leroy DeLeon. So congratulations to Mr. Leroy DeLeon. We now ask him to say a few words to us here today.
Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, students, and special invited guests. It is with great humility that I accept this award, remembering those who influenced me as a child, first as a human being, and then as a footballer. It was a hard road from day one, because my dad never wanted me to play sports. He wanted me to end up being a doctor or whatever. That wasn't in my DNA at all. There was an old movie by the name The Sound of Music, and there was a line by Julie Andrews which goes like this. I'm not going to try to sing it, but it said, "For somewhere in my youth and childhood, I must have done something good." I thank each and every one of you, and to the young people, please fulfill your dreams academically, and like the minister says, you have to get the two together. You have to marry both of them, books and sports. It will never leave you. Dedication, respect yourself, respect others, and most of all, enjoy what the heck you're doing. Okay? Thank you very much.
Well, that will conclude the formal part of the ceremony. A ceremony like this takes a long time to put together, so there are several people we need to say thank you to. I'd now like to invite Mr. William Wallace to join us on stage to move the vote of thanks. Mr. Wallace is the first Vice President of the Secondary Schools Football League, manager of the national football team. Mr. Wallace.
Pleasant good afternoon. Let me start by first thanking the Honorable Minister of Sports, Mr. Daryl Smith, for one, his presence here this afternoon, and two, for his encouraging words. To our sponsors, and I was delighted to hear when Wendell said that we need each other. But in these harsh economic times, Wendell, we need you more than you need us. Thank you to General Holloway, FCB, to Wendell, BG, T, and T, and to Mr. Ramcharai, to Coca-Cola. Thank you very much. Without you, we just can't do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the student of Naparima College for his beautiful rendition of the national anthem on Pan. Thank you, sir. And to Joseph and Akeem, thank you for entertaining us. Principals, teachers, coaches, thank you for your continued support. To the players who have provided us with many delightful moments in the last season, thank you, thank you.
You were just awarded the Player of the Century in secondary schools football. How are you feeling right now? What's your thoughts on your accomplishments?
I'm lost for words. This is something I never expected. Yes, I played football at a high level for a long time, But looking for accolades, I never dreamed in a million years. But I'm happy and grateful that the secondary school body saw me as the player of the century of the last 50 years, and I would have cherished that for the rest of my life.
When you look back at your career and the days when you all played football, and you look at the colleges football league now, how do you feel? Has the football grown to a level where you all are comfortable with?
I would say no. I would say definitely not. I don't know what's the reason for it. I have some ideas or some thoughts in my head, but I don't understand. I really don't. I'm not a psychologist, I don't understand at all. Now you're playing for money, and which would be a greater incentive to try to improve your craft, and we seem to be declining. I don't know if it's a societal problem. I don't know. I tend to think that maybe it is a societal problem. The reason I say that is because the structure of football, we've gone from the structure when I was growing up, which is not a bad thing. Changes are always good sometimes. But I think this one needs to be revamped quickly in order for us to, because we have great athletes here. Not only in football, in all sports, we have great athletes here. Preparation and funding too. Of course, money is a big part of everything. But right now I'm comfortable with Mr. Hart. He's doing real well. I think the TTFF has given him an opportunity to do what he's hired to do. In past years, in the past 25 or 30 years, we've had about 12 or 13 different national coaches. You can't do anything that way. So I'm happy to see that he's around, and I always call him and pick his brain because I'm also a coach. And we exchange, as a matter of fact, we did today, we exchanged ideas, which is healthy for me, for him, for the national team, for football in general in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. De Leon, congratulations and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.